My boyfriend came to pick me up from work, with a girl sitting in the passenger seat. She rolled her eyes at me and said, "I get motion sickness. You don't mind if I sit in front, do you?" I slapped my boyfriend, daring to give a ride to someone with motion sickness. What if she dies in the car? Kyle and I met at a gala. I twisted my ankle in my stilettos, and he took me home. At first, I thought he was an untouchable beauty, but after asking around, I learned he was wild and reckless. I was wary of his advances, yet he pursued me relentlessly, quit smoking for me, got into fights for me, even had a vasectomy for me. People in our circle said he'd changed his ways. I believed them. The 6 months I spent with Kyle were truly happy. We traveled across continents, witnessed mountains and oceans under the sky, under the stars. He vowed to love only me for the rest of his life. But recently, a friend told me Kyle had been seen with another woman, strikingly beautiful, often accompanying him to high-end venues. I laughed it off as work-related, but doubt crept in, because Kyle's replies to my messages were getting slower and slower. On Friday, Kyle came to pick me up. As soon as I opened the car door, I saw a girl sitting in the passenger seat. She gave me a once-over and suddenly rolled her eyes. "Sis, I get motion sickness. You don't mind me sitting up front, do you?" I looked at Kyle, but he stayed silent. I slapped him. "You dare pick up someone with motion sickness? What if she dies in the car?" Serena's face instantly turned ugly. Kyle snapped, "Sophia, that's too far. She's just shameless." "I know." I cut him off, then grabbed the girl by her hair and effortlessly yanked her out. She tumbled to the ground as I stepped into the car and slammed the door shut. Outside, she wailed like a banshee, tears streaming. Mr. Kyle. I picked up the water bottle she'd drunk from in the passenger seat and hurled it at her through the window. "A pretty face makes you arrogant, but mess with me and your fate's uncertain." "Sophia, she's not feeling well," Kyle said as he got in the car and grabbed my hand. I turned to him with a smile. "Did you make her uncomfortable, big brother?" Kyle's face darkened. His lips pressed into a tight line. I continued, "Bro, you didn't think I'd stop at just scolding her, did you? If you don't want this to escalate, start the car." Kyle hesitated, then finally started the engine. Back home, Kyle sat silently on the couch. "Let's break up," I said softly. He looked up. "Sophia, aren't you overreacting? Nothing happened between me and Serena. I only let her sit in the front because she wasn't feeling well." I poured a glass of water. "Oh, I know." "Then why break up?" His voice was urgent. "Because I'm bored," I said casually, taking a sip. He froze. Then, after a long pause, muttered, "Bored?" I walked slowly to his side and smiled. "Bro, being with you is just dull." The veins in his neck bulged. I chuckled softly, patted his cheek, and pointed at the row of Muay Thai trophies on the wall. "Don't get impulsive. I don't mind hitting a man." "Sophia, you're ruthless," he gritted out before turning and storming out the door. I lay on the pristine white chair, my gaze vacant. "Dr. Wong, I've been feeling irritable and angry again lately. Everyone around me is so annoying, like a bunch of idiots. I just want to tear the world apart." "Sophia, you need to stay positive. A year ago, I didn't recommend your discharge, but you've been doing well daily and taking your meds on time, so I approved your release." Dr. Wong injected my left arm and said softly, "Get some rest first." I slowly closed my eyes. In my dream, I returned to my childhood. Everyone knew the Su family had a brilliant son, but no one knew it was a twin birth. The family's fortune teller called me a curse. I was supposed to be drowned, but my mother couldn't bear it and secretly left me in an orphanage. The orphanage's headmaster was a creep. When I was 10, he lured me into his office under the pretense of giving me toys. In the end, cops and docs arrived, staring at me in shock. After answering a series of questions, I was sent to the city's largest asylum. I stayed there for 10 years. When I woke up, my friends from the ward were gathered around me. "Boss, has your brain gone haywire again? Who messed with you?" "Boss, I'll go invisible and take them out." I sat up and smiled. "It's nothing serious. Not worth mentioning." Second brother handed me a cup of water. "Boss, Have some water first. Third brother touched the cup and blocked it. Don't drink it. The water's at 90 degrees now. A right angle could get stuck in your throat. What a show off. I glanced toward the door, where our fourth and fifth brothers. Fourth brother's outside fishing in a wash basin, and fifth brother went to the pond to release fish tofu. I nodded. Dr. Wong pushed the door open and walked in. Why aren't you out saving the world instead of crowding around your boss here? We won't go. Nothing's more important than our boss. They mumbled. Dr. Wong glanced at me, and I quickly grabbed their hands. The people need you. Only then did they reluctantly run off. Sophia, here's your new prescription. Take it on time, and call me if anything comes up. I took the medicine from Dr. Wong, secretly wondering what would happen if Kyle took this. But before I could meet Kyle, I ran into Serena first. She held her head high with arrogance, smirking triumphantly at me. Sister, have you been sleeping poorly lately? You look so haggard. I perked up my ears and whispered, Shoo, don't speak. Who knew being dumped by President Kyle would hit you so hard? You've even lost your sanity. She sneered at me with disdain. Slowly, I stood up and then slapped her face left and right, chanting under my breath. I don't have K. I don't have K. I don't have K. Blue Bayou, Dino diggy diggy dig. Dino diggy diggy dig. By the time the song ended, her face had swollen up like a pig's head. Are you insane? You actually hit me? Her words slurred, as if she'd swallowed a few frogs. Do you even know who my father is? I shook my sore hand. Didn't your mom tell you? What, you came here looking for a dad? Kowtow to me now, and I'll reluctantly play the role. She covered her face with one hand while pointing at me with the other, tears streaming down. Who the hell do you think you are? Without Kyle, who dares back you up now? Just you wait. I rotated my ankle and stretched slightly, seeing my stance. She retreated a few steps before turning to flee, but she did remind me. It was time to visit my father at the Sioux residence. Actually, I'd gone to the Sioux family a month prior, during Ethan's birthday celebration. The Zus held some influence in Yun City. The moment he saw me, his expression tensed. I was wearing a backless gown, leaving the crescent-shaped birthmark on my shoulder fully visible. I hadn't meant to stir trouble, but Zach provoked me. His fingers brushed over my birthmark as he muttered something vulgar. I raised my hand and splashed a glass of Merlot onto his face. He arrogantly moved to strike me, but was sharply stopped by Ethan's furious shout. After the banquet, Ethan called me aside. We struck a deal. He'd give me a sum of money, and I wouldn't reveal my identity publicly. After all, no woman could resist 6 properties. Ethan glared at me coldly. What are you here for? I pointed at Zach. For him. For me? What did I do? Zach sprang to his feet, his eyes darting nervously. This is the Ethan family. You have no right to cause trouble here, Ethan said, his voice laced with anger. Seems you forgot I'm also an Ethan. I leaned in close to his ear and shouted manically, Dad, Dad, Dad. The sound echoed through the dining room, loud enough to rupture eardrums. Ethan covered his ears and jumped back in pain. Are you insane? I smiled. You'd know best if I am, wouldn't you? Zach stepped between Ethan and me. A lunatic like you dares dream of being part of the Ethan family? Delusional. How filial. Protecting Daddy. I picked up the Merlot on the table, and he tensed instantly. I grinned. So, it was you who sent thugs to threaten me the other day? I didn't. He bit his lip hard, eyes fixed on my hands. Relax. I won't splash you again. I tilted my head back and drank the Merlot, his body relaxing slightly. A smirk played at the corner of my mouth before the wine sprayed violently from my lips. He and Ethan scrambled backward as I advanced step by step. My apologies. This Merlot was undrinkable. Couldn't help myself. I picked up a napkin and dabbed my mouth elegantly. Ethan and Zach were drenched. Hair, faces, clothes stained with wine, looking utterly disheveled. Zach raised a fist at me. Sophia, you did this on purpose. If I don't end you today, I'll take your last name. The next second, the crisp sound of a bone snapping echoed in the air. Ethan bent down in panic. Zach, are you okay? Zach grimaced in pain, unable to utter a single word. Sophia, what the hell do you want? Ethan demanded, voice thick with anguish. Didn't I say I'd deal with him? I pointed at Zach. Job's done. Time for me to leave. I casually grabbed a chicken leg from the table. Dad, don't forget to change Zach's surname. From now on, he'll be my son, Zach Song. Ethan's sigh came from behind me. Why did you have to provoke her? She's just a lunatic. I arrived at a graveyard, the wind scattering the flowers I brought. The woman on the tombstone smiled gently. I placed the flowers before her. Mom, I've come to see you. When I was little, Chloe often visited me at the orphanage. I understood her helplessness. In the eyes of the Ethan family, a woman without power or influence was just a breeding machine. Every time she saw me, her eyes were red. She tried so hard to please me, apologizing over and over again. When I was 10, she promised to take me away from the orphanage, but that day, she never came. I stood in the courtyard for a full day and night, watching the sun set and rise again, until hope turned to despair. I began to hate her. Just as that hatred raged uncontrollably in my heart, I learned she had died. The news said she suffered from depression and slit her own throat. How could this be? How is this possible? I refused to believe it and wanted to go see her, but I was locked up instead. Later, I cut off the headmaster's prized possession and was sent to an asylum. I knew Ethan had long been aware of my existence. It was he who had me sent to the asylum. Perhaps he wanted me to destroy myself this way. In the first year there, I kept trying to escape, but never succeeded. Someone was watching me. I understood my predicament. Slowly, I began crawling in the dark of night and crowing like a rooster at dawn. For years passed like this, and finally, those watching me let their guard down. They asked who I was, and I told them it was a rare butterfly from Western South America, the wasnity. They laughed uproariously, so I flapped my wings and slapped them hard across the face. When Ethan learned that I had completely lost my mind and forgotten who I was, he gradually let his guard down and withdrew those people. Later, I met Dr. Wong, who actively guided me, and I cooperated with him. In the end, he released me. By the time I got out, Ethan might have already forgotten he even had a daughter named Sophia. His heart belonged only to Zach and that mother-daughter pair. Compared to Kyle, I actually knew about Serena first, because she was Ethan's illegitimate daughter. Not only that, but she also had feelings for Kyle. I sprained my ankle on purpose, just to get closer to Kyle. After all, I was extremely confident in my looks. Kyle probably never noticed that Serena and I bore a slight resemblance. After leaving the cemetery, I saw an old lady who had fallen on the road. She struggled to get up but couldn't manage it. Suddenly, I felt like doing a good deed, so I helped her up. But once she was on her feet, she grabbed my hand and said, "Young lady, you knocked me over. You owe me compensation." Interesting. I looked around. No one in sight. "Old lady, there's security footage here." She lowered her voice and sneered. "I checked already. There's no footage here." "Oh." I nodded obediently. Then, with just a tenth of my strength, I kicked her into the bushes. "No footage and you still act so bold? Disgusting piece of work." I laughed out loud. A man stood at the entrance of the neighborhood, gazing skyward at a 45-degree angle. I walked past him without a flicker of expression. "Sophia." His deep voice called out. I ignored him and kept walking. He leaped in front of me in one big bound. "Sophia, I was wrong. Let's make up." He murmured. "What's this? Revving your mouth like a motorcycle?" I scratched my ear. "You won't answer calls." Blocked me on WeChat. "Sophia, it's been days. Shouldn't you be over it by now? I came to apologize in person. What more do you want?" His voice was urgent. "I want you to get the hell out." I screamed, frantically slapping my head in agony. "My head hurts so much." "Kyle, I beg you, stop doing drugs and hitting me. We're already over." "Oh God, someone please save me." It was rush hour with people heading home after work, and they all turned to stare at Kyle and me. Kyle flushed crimson and grabbed my hand. "Sophia, what nonsense are you spouting?" I scrambled backward desperately. He's hitting me. Cheating was bad enough, but I truly have no money left. Please stop using drugs, okay?" Several burly men emerged from the crowd and restrained Kyle as easily as catching a chicken. Wiping my tears, I thanked them, watching as he was wrestled into a car and taken to the police station. Late at night, I received a text. Sophia, since my love means nothing to you, then taste my hatred. Ah! My phone felt filthy, cringing hard. I quickly typed back, may your future generations flourish. All thanks to the kindness of your bros. The next day, feeling listless, I threw on a jacket and headed to the city's most luxurious corporate tower. Kyle's text had left me nauseated all night. In the penthouse, a young man stood with slightly reddened eyes. You finally came. I've been waiting for you. I walked over and collapsed onto the vast sofa, letting my body sink into it. So comfortable. He looked at me, his eyes misty. You told me to wait a year for you, yet it took 3 before you came. Lazily, I stretched out a hand. He bent down, leaning his head closer. I ruffled his tousled hair and soothed. After 3 years apart, is scolding me your first move? That's not it. His brow twitched violently. I just missed you so much. You wouldn't let me find you. Only wait, every day. I imagined you'd appear before me the next moment. I tilted my head to look at him. Such a good boy. Summer was like me, yet unlike me. He had sneaked into the asylum on his own because he loathed his family and wanted to escape that life. His family was frantically searching for him outside, but no one would have guessed he was in an asylum. He stayed there for a year. When he left, he wanted to take me with him. I made up some cheesy drama excuse, saying I'd come find him in a year once he became stronger, and during that time, he wasn't allowed to look for me. Surprisingly, he actually believed it. Now, he's become the most untouchable man in Cloud City. Ever since I visited Summer 2 days ago, this kid has been acting possessed, calling me every single day. I suddenly felt a pang of regret. Why has he become so clingy? After hanging up on him, I looked up and saw 2 people approaching. It was Serena and her mother. Serena glared at me, her face full of arrogance. What rotten luck. Seems the slap from before didn't teach her any manners. Serena, that's no way to speak, Vivian said sternly. She approached me. You must be Miss Sophia Song, right? I'm aware of the conflict between you and Serena. She was in the wrong, and I apologize on her behalf. Serena tugged at her, furious. Mom, what are you doing? She's the one who hit me. Vivian ignored her and continued with a smile. Miss Song, do you have a moment? I'd like to talk with you. I smirked. Sure. I was curious to see what tricks this old fox had up her sleeve. I sat in my seat, playing Candy Crush without a word. Serena was dismissed by Vivian. After sipping her coffee, Vivian finally spoke. Kyle is a good boy. Serena likes him very much. Great. Candy Crush chimed in with praise. I heard you work as an assistant at a small company. Your income must be quite low. This card holds 5 million, and the password is 6 sixes. She slid a bank card toward me. Unbelievable. Candy Crush exclaimed again. I hope you can disappear completely from Kyle's life. Her voice turned cold. I lazily raised my head, put down my phone, and walked around to sit beside her. She frowned and subtly shifted away. I wrapped an arm around her shoulder, my eyes carefully tracing her face. I had to admit, Vivian had aged incredibly well. Standing next to Serena, they looked like sisters. Was it this face that had Ethan so utterly bewitched? My hand slid from her neck to caress her cheek. Panic flashed in her eyes as she glanced toward the door. I grinned and leaned closer. Darling, you smell so good. She was completely flustered now. Sophia, what are you doing? The accusatory tone was eerily similar to Ethan's. I gazed at her affectionately. How about I show you? She couldn't hold back a scream. Unfortunately for her, the place she'd chosen was extremely private and soundproof. You creep. Honey, don't scream. I covered her mouth. Didn't you want me to leave Kyle? If you agree to be with me, I'll leave him. I fell in love with you the moment I saw you. Though you have a few wrinkles and aren't very tall, it doesn't matter. Gender and age are no barriers. My love for you is enough. From today, Serena will be my daughter, and Kyle my son-in-law. We'll be one happy family. Vivian's short legs flailed as I leered at her. Her eyes were filled with terror. Suddenly, the door burst open as Serena rushed in. Seeing our position, she shouted, "Mom, what are you doing?" I released my grip and sighed, "Darling, since the child has seen us, we might as well tell her." Vivian turned to Serena, scrambling to stand up. "Serena, it's not what it looks like." But seated awkwardly, she lost her balance and collapsed onto me. "Careful now, sweetheart, you're so soft and fragrant." I gave her a playful squeeze. Serena could no longer contain herself. "You all disgust me." "No, no wonder you were so polite to her earlier. You two have already. Serena ran out. I leaned slightly to the side as Vivian darted past me like a white rat. With a wicked smirk, I picked up the bank card on the table and returned to my seat. The chick was eliminated. A cheerful excellent rang out from the phone. Summer was highly efficient. He managed to track down the Sue family's old butler. "Chloe really did commit suicide," he said, his voice trembling. I stood up and smiled. "I believe you." Joy flickered across his face, but the next second, his smile froze. "Didn't you say you believed me?" I burst out laughing. A man in his 40s, still so quick to trust others. Tears welled in his eyes as his body trembled uncontrollably. The second in command sneered, "Boss, why is this guy acting so weak? It's just a game of ball. Why is he crying?" As soon as the words were spoken, the man tied to the pillar roared angrily, "My mother? You mean his damn mother? Buddy, what you're holding is a shot put." I mused thoughtfully. "Tell me, which is harder, a shot put or a skull?" Second brother answered earnestly, "Boss, isn't that obvious? I'll do my best to hit his head." Holding the ball, he stared straight ahead. 3, 2, wait. The man shouted desperately, his pants already soaked. Chloe was murdered. My heart tightened. By who? He spilled everything in one breath, like beans pouring from a bamboo tube. Ethan was finally getting married. After being the mistress for so long, Vivian was finally being promoted to wife. I put on a black suit and drove to the wedding venue. Vivian sat by the mirror, admiring herself, completely unaware of my approach. So when I placed my hand on her shoulder, she jumped in fright. In the mirror, she looked beautiful, but her face was full of panic. "You, how did you get in?" My hand gripped her jade white neck. "Sweetheart, you really chill me to the bone." Her body trembled. "How dare you marry someone else without my permission?" My hand gradually tightened. If not for this woman back then, Chloe wouldn't have died. 10 years ago today, Chloe had packed her things, ready to pick me up from the orphanage. But this woman came knocking, bringing Serena along to provoke her. Chloe had already wanted to leave the Sue family and paid no mind to her words, only thinking of leaving quickly, afraid I'd grow impatient waiting. Vivian mistook her indifference for contempt and physically blocked her. In the struggle, Chloe pushed Vivian down. Chloe bent to help her up, but Serena rushed forward. The fruit knife in her hand slashed straight across Chloe's neck. Chloe collapsed in a pool of blood, her hand reaching for the door as she struggled to crawl out. That was when Ethan returned. He saw everything, yet all he did was coldly restrain Chloe. The three of them stood there, watching as Chloe took her last breath. Vivian gasped for air. "Don't be rash, Sophia." I watched her face turn increasingly pale in the mirror, feeling a slight relief in my heart. I whispered in her ear, "Will you behave then?" Yes, she wanted to nod, but her neck was immobilized by my grip. "Good girl, behave, and I'll act rash just once." My eyes conveyed the unspoken threat. Vivian looked utterly helpless. Outside, the guests had mostly arrived, and the large screen displayed Ethan and Vivian's cherished memories together. I sat inside the private room, cracking sunflower seeds and enjoying the show. Vivian crouched on the floor, trembling uncontrollably. Her wedding dress was torn to shreds. She didn't dare scream. No one would have answered even if she did, because when I whipped her earlier, she had nearly screamed her throat raw. "All right, stop crying. It's annoying. I've been more than fair to you. I even put antiseptic on the whip before hitting you, disinfecting as I went. Isn't that enough?" I spat a melon seed shell at her. She looked at me with grievance, though, from an outsider's perspective, that gaze was probably full of resentment. The screen went black for a moment, and I knew the show was about to begin. When the screen lit up again, Vivian started shrieking wildly. Someone pushed the door open. "Boss, you think it's too loud?" Third brother asked with a grin. I tossed the melon seeds onto the table. Third brother swiftly kicked off his shoe, peeled off a sock, and stuffed it into Vivian's mouth. "Whoa, that smell. Maybe we should wash our feet daily." I held my breath. Third brother scratched his head sheepishly. "Been stepping in too much sauerkraut lately." I shot him a glare before turning back to the screen. On the screen, Serena retreated step by step until her back hit the wall. But Ethan left her no room to breathe. "Your mother betrayed me long ago, didn't she? After all these years of doting on you for nothing. Tell me, which bastard fathered you with Vivian?" "Dad, what are you saying? I'm your biological daughter." Serena screamed hysterically. "Still lying to me now," Ethan said coldly. How stupid I was. I even went to great lengths to cover up that incident back then. Serena knelt on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. "Dad, I really am your daughter. Though Mom might have wronged you, that was all after I was born. And she... Ethan clutched his chest, consumed by fury. "What about her? Go on. She really raised another man behind my back, didn't she?" "No, not just one man." Serena's voice faltered. "What? More than one? That shameless woman. Get out. Go call her here." Ethan's voice sounded like he was suffocating. Serena tried to explain further, but Ethan suddenly collapsed. Medicine. Serena frantically tried to help him up, but Ethan's 180-pound frame was far beyond what she could handle. I turned to look at Vivian, who was sobbing uncontrollably, her makeup completely ruined by tears. I signaled to Lao San to remove the socks. She began screaming. "You scheming bitch. This was your doing, wasn't it? Serena is Ethan's biological daughter. Why would you do this? We have no grudge. I only ever advised you to leave Kyle." "Yes, it was me," I said darkly, gripping her chin. "Since you didn't value my love, why not taste my hatred instead?" Borrowing Kyle's line, I had to admit, saying it out loud felt utterly nauseating. "Are you insane?" She tried to bolt. Lao Sin kicked her back into place. "Did the boss say you could leave?" I gave him a thumbs up, and he beamed with genuine pride. I looked at Serena on the screen. She stared at the unconscious Ethan in panic, muttering repeatedly, "Dad, I didn't mean a man. It's a woman. Mom loved a woman." By the time the doc arrived, Ethan had already stopped breathing. He had a heart condition and couldn't handle stress. Combined with Serena's panicked hesitation, delaying critical treatment, he was gone just like that. Truthfully, I never intended to use this incident to punish Serena. 10 years ago, Serena was only 9, still a minor. Besides, the case was past the statute of limitations. The law couldn't touch her. I just wanted Ethan's reputation ruined first. But I never expected he'd die. I wonder if he thought of Chloe in his final moments. After all, she'd once waited helplessly to die the same way. Poetic justice. He deserved it. After Ethan's death, the Sue family descended into chaos, their stock price plummeting. Then Zach came to me. No, correction. Zach Song came to me. "After all, you're still a daughter of the Sue family. What good does the Sue family's bankruptcy do for you? This is real money we're talking about." He was so anxious his stubble seemed to bristle. Anyone could guess he was no match for those old foxes in the Sue family. The Sue family? What does that have to do with me? My surname is Song. "Oh wait, isn't yours Song too?" I said nonchalantly. He gritted his teeth. Then, after a long pause, lowered his head and said, "Sis, I know you have the capability. I don't want to live without money." I glanced at him. "I can help you, but from now on you'll have to listen to me." He raised his head. "Fine, as long as you prevent Sue Corporation from going bankrupt, I'll do whatever you say." I patted his shoulder. "First go change your surname." With Summer's help, Sue Corporation's losses gradually decreased. Song Ziyu became the new CEO, though the real decision-maker behind the scenes was Summer. Who knows what Summer said to Song Ziyu or what agreement they reached, but every time he saw me afterward, he was as respectful as a grandson. He even became diligent and hardworking, gradually developing some of the steady maturity of a proper businessman. Vivian and Serena initially tried to seize control of the Sue Group, but under Summer's ruthless tactics, They were utterly defeated. Serena sought Kyle's help, but he avoided her like the plague, having security escort her out immediately. Without the support of Kyle and Ethan, life became extremely difficult for the mother and daughter. Unable to endure such hardship, Serena used her looks to attach herself to a wealthy man. Little did she know, his lawful wife was a full-fledged mafia heiress. Poor thing. While waiting for her sugar daddy in a cage, she was doused with acid. Her face was ruined. Her legs were also broken. Vivian stared at her daughter, lying in bed, her heart wrenching in agony. She began babbling insanely, vowing revenge against me. I figured since Old Fourth always fished in an empty basin, this time I'd let him hook a big one. And so, the asylum gained a new resident, a middle-aged woman dressed in a mermaid costume. Sister, did I do a good job? Summer squatted halfway before me, seeking praise. I believed them, rather than letting Serena die. He'd prefer her to live a life worse than death. Good job. I reached out and fed him a grape. He opened his mouth to take it, lightly biting his lower lip, his eyes shining like stars. Good heavens, what kind of seductress is this? I slapped him. You flirt, trying to tempt an eagle like me. His eyes reddened slightly. Sister, does your hand hurt?